pissy people tell me to buy things, I buy them. Just so you know, she's here. How you doing, everybody? Howdy. A few weeks back I mentioned bought this thing off of TikTok, and it's a carpet script to get up someone's hair. But TikTok's not really the place that I'm influenced from buying stuff. No, that's here, YouTube. YouTube has had way more influence on my home and my workflow and everything I do and have around me. And so today, this is what YouTubers have made me buy. Put this down. I have a list. First off, who are we talking about here? Well, there's a few. I mean, there's sort of about a dozen YouTubers that suggested things, and then I've gone, that's what I need, or okay, I can't do this without that. So, in no preferential treatment here, just purely alphabetical, who are they? Well, first off, one person I don't actually follow anymore, Alicja Nei. Second, Becki Peckham. Only really Becki. Well, Chris, I don't own a helicopter. Well, not yet. I don't think that's really likely to happen. But the FPV drone maybe at some point, but so far, no. So, Becki. Conjured Craft and Black Magic Craft are kind of going together. They're one or the same. They're the new model bases and statues, etc. This thing. Influenced by them. Very useful. Terran's really helpful. Really great. Next up is Jazza, Josiah Brooks. Jazza, I wouldn't be doing this at all if it wasn't for him. And then we're going to the M's. There's actually quite a lot of M's. I seem to like M's. Makayla Samontry, I mean, once again, it's kind of like Jazza. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for her. Yes. Matti Haapoja, he's tech reviews and cameras and all of that. The Merrell Twins. Mostly Nessa, because she's my favourite. Then Molly Leach of Molly's Artistry. Next up, Peter McKinnon. Course. Another one I'm not actually following anymore because he sort of just disappeared off the map, but PJ May, who used to be Jazza's assistant. Next up is Sharla of Sharmeleon in Japan, and I haven't included Norm from Tokyo Lens. Don't actually think I've bought anything directly from him. And then last but not least, very importantly, my other half, Tora. She has a YouTube channel out there posting every once in a while, but she's a YouTuber, she's influential, she's got to be included. And she'd kill me if I didn't include her. Yeah, so where to start? First up, this thing, my iPad. I had an iPad before, but I didn't have a good iPad, and this is a 6th gen iPad and the pencil because I wanted to run Procreate. And if it's anybody that influenced me to do that, that would be Alicja Nei. She drew on Procreate all the time. There was someone else that did it. I can't think who else. There is also Thorgeir from Art and Design. He uses an iPad and he did a whole tutorial series on how to use Procreate, and that would be influential, but actually for using it and watching people draw Alicia. So iPad, thanks to her for that. Next up, let's do this. Let's do that. That's on. The GoPro 8 and of course the 7. These were bought, I think originally Peter McKinnon was responsible for the buying a GoPro, and I got it as a Christmas present from Tora, but I'd gone on and on about it because Peter McKinnon. I then started following Matti as well because he was sharing studio, and he got the GoPro 8 linked to him from a guy in Japan, Norm of Tokyo Lens, and he brought it over and showed him and used it. It was like, ooh, the image stabilizing thing where you move around and it doesn't even have any effect, like these bike rides and things. That was a big difference. This was like, you could barely see anything, but it glitches like crazy. It doesn't work on 2K, and God knows what it does. GoPro, sort your camera out. The reason I'm holding this and done this first is if I press that, I can come into this and show you this lot. The iPhone. The iPhone 12, very, very influenced once again by Matti Haapoja. More so him than Peter McKinnon or anyone else, because he actually did extensive tests and made me want the Mini rather than anything else. Next up, that thing. These are handle lights. Really good, very simple. Plug them in, charge them, a few hours. So much easier than the old studio lights. This does just the same thing. Lights me nicely. And these things, this is Becki. This is Becki Peckham's influence. I'm running out of hands. Becki Peckham influenced the buying lights and setting up studio and how to set up and how to shoot and all of that. If you want to know how best to shoot and what lights and to have a warming light behind you, to have a hair light, Becki Peckham. I'm going to put these down. Be back. While we're with Becki, I'm going to keep using this. Not a product, but shelf styling. How to style and how to make something look impressive. I mean, granted, there is a light on there. How to style it and all of my figures and stuff, and Darcy Bustle's point shoes. Later on the DVD box set, even though I don't have a DVD player anymore. And yeah, there you go, Star Trek novels. I just want to include that. It's not necessarily products. I didn't buy anything to make that shelf, but it was very influenced by her. I'm going to turn it. Oh, before I do, one more thing. This thing. That pole. You might have seen it recently with me setting it up to take photos and do the flow up. I have a boom arm. Jazza will be very pleased to know that his influence has gone for as far as boom arms. If you don't know, Jazza's obsessed with them. If you watch any of his behind the scenes things with the Jazza Studios, previously Daily Jazza, you see the behind the scenes, there are, I think there's 17 boom arms holding cameras and lights and all manner of things up. It's ridiculous. I needed something to perch over the top of doing paintings, and so I was over my head and out of the way, and everything I bought wasn't very good. I bought a boom arm of the type that Jazza recommended. So next up, giving Jazza, this is very clearly blatant Jazza thing. Jazza's book on creating characters was pretty much the first thing I did when I started watching his channel. Went cover to cover, followed the whole thing. Really helped me sort of learn what I liked and what I didn't like. The book is seriously highly recommended if you have any desire to learn to draw or improve your animation. It's going to be such a mess, this flat, by the time I finished. When I started watching Jazza, that was pretty much all I watched for the first like 8 months or something. I just watched all of his back catalogue. He was saying you need a graphics tablet. So I've got a graphics tablet, a drawing tablet for connecting to computer and drawing. I found it really hard to do. I couldn't draw with this in front of me but looking up there. Disassociation of hand to eye thing. So this was useful and it was used, but eventually that was the reason why I went to the iPad, and we've already covered. Next up, Copic Markers. Once again, Jazza, when he does his character designs, he uses alcohol markers. These Copics are really good. The pro ones are so expensive. They're £7 each pen, but they're really good and great. But you do need special paper to colour them on, because you do it on normal paper, they don't blend so well. But when they do blend, they blend beautifully, and you can't see where a green ends and the yellow starts. Why did you use green? I don't know, because it's a horrible colour and I hate it. Again, Jazza did do the best alcohol markers in the world ever, and these were ones I found. They're pretty good. Touch New, there's millions of out there. You buy them in a pack of 80 for the same price of about 3 of these. So do the maths. That's it. That's I think that's mostly Jazza's. Oh, while we're on, Jazza used to have an assistant, PJ May, who started his own channel and did his own stuff. And I used to follow him, and he was my very first subscriber. And I don't know if he's still following me, but he probably isn't. One of the first things he said, get a camera, it doesn't matter what, but just get good sound. Now we've got this thing, and the sound on this is pretty amazing. But I still use a lav mic, because the wind or something, it'll be, if I'm filming outside, I'll plug it in. So yes, lav mics, if you're outside, if you're filming on the road or whatever, lav mics very useful. Peter, just get ones with a long cord, because you do tend to do this and pull the camera over. Don't actually have a Gorilla Pod anymore. Just bought one of these. This is literally brand new. These are bendy ones for putting your camera on and you wrap it around stuff, so it does that. I've not actually even used it, but I've had about 4 Gorilla Pods, and they're brilliant. They just snap after a while, and their legs just pop apart. So we'll come back to this later and see how good it is. So Gorilla Pods, as influenced very definitely by Peter McKinnon. I think my very first video was him holding one and going, you gotta buy one of these. I did buy one of these, Evil Selfie Stick. This is actually proving itself to be quite useful. Partly for you can film like that, you know, the camera at a distance. That's where Gorilla Pod could benefit, having a pole like that in it. This does that. Selfie stick that stands up has been really useful. It was about £12, something like that. This, Makayla Samontry. You know, like for all of the camera people, Peter McKinnon, Matti and Becki and all of that, recommendation of Makayla Samontry because she uses it in her studio. It's been quite helpful. Also, it does pack down way smaller than Gorilla Pods. So there's something to be done joining these to this. But while we're at it, also this thing, torture device. For the camera and the GoPro, the gooseneck thing rotates and bends. These are really good. I cannot recommend these enough. If you're going to buy a GoPro and something, get a gooseneck clamp on something. If you take the clamp off and just have the stick, these are literally buoyant. The holiday video in Sicily, everything in the water is filmed on with this stick and the GoPro, and I just used to just drop it into the sea and it would just float like that in front of me. And the GoPro versions of these are like $30, $40 and it's just a hollow tube, whereas this does exactly the same thing and it's more versatile. Don't think anyone... I can't say that anybody that I follow actually uses that. I just happened to find it. And a gimbal. And Becki and Chris have also talked about having a gimbal. A gimbal is basically the gyroscope thing. Again, I sold it recently because I used it once. It was so annoying. It had a remote control and it moves up and down. You can tilt and things. And then I did a video on the canal of the boats and I'm walking along and went like that and walked off, tripped over a mooring post. Yeah, so didn't like it. Ended up with just this and trying to walk slowly. And also these cameras now all have IBIS on them and the GoPro. I think that's all the tech. Oh, one last tech thing. This is a number of people mentioning this and I hadn't really thought about it at all and didn't think I really wanted it until Sharla started on about it, and then Ronnie and Nessa of the Merrell Twins went on about it, and then Tora bought it for me for Christmas. Nintendo Switch. So that I can play Animal Crossing. And I literally have played Animal Crossing every day since Christmas. So, well done. Thank you, Tora, for buying it for me. I wouldn't have bought it for myself, I would have just gone on about it. But yes, Merrell's and Sharla go on about it, and it's fun. It's so silly. Let's do this. So, if you watched the May vlog, just there, you saw me opening this selenite. Quartz and rose quartz and so forth. I like crystals. I don't know a lot about them. I kind of feel like I need more positive energy and more luck. Not very lucky, myself or Tora. So I bought some bits and pieces, purely influenced from Makayla Samontry, but she gave a link and I'll give the same link to Blue Moon Park. Look at that, black obsidian. Pretty people tell me to buy things, I buy them. GoPro back on, so that I can show you one other thing. Makayla Samontry also did, and again, I mentioned it the other day, but I'm using it in this video. This thing. You can't really see a lot during daylight. It's a rainbow treatment film, and when the light comes in, you get a rainbow effect. Very simple, very pretty. It just warms the room up, and you can sit there and go, oh look, rainbows. That. It's very hard to point that. My picture's slipped. It's really annoying. My birthday card's from my friend, but please ignore it. But this thing, you may have, oh god, wobbly. Oh, the light's going all weird. Diamond art. Jazza did it and it took me months to do that. It was named Aeon because it took me absolutely bloody aeons to do it. So that's Aeon, as named by Pete, the courier driver. Talking of painting and art, let's get on to that. This was really expensive. It's actually called Floetrol. In America, this is like $20, the big jug. In the UK, this pot I got for £30. And you mix this in with your acrylic paint and you use it to make flow art like that. Subsequently, now I only use paint and water because this is too expensive. But flow art, acrylic paint, Molly's Artistry, Molly Leach. I'd never used acrylic paint. I'd always been an oil paint user. She suggested a Tezza paint and it's very good. I've used others since, but acrylic paint in general I've bought because of Molly, this thing too. Blowtorch. I also wanted one of these for no reason other than it's cool. I want to make creme brulee. Made creme brulee, it tastes of gas. I don't know why, but the butane gas in this, when you use it, whatever you burn, cook, it tastes of gas. But this is used to blow out the bubbles and so forth and heat up the paint, and I bought that. Right, as we were on the arts and crafts and things, a pot of grass, fake grass, otherwise known as flocking. The subtitles are now going to go confused and say swearing. Flocking, Flocking, is the fake grass that you sprinkle on the bottom of statues and things. I had been watching Tabletop Time and Jazza's, and he kind of mentioned it, but I didn't take any notice of it. I then started watching Conjured Crafts, Terran in New Zealand, and he was on about it, and then he told me to go and see Black Magic Craft. It will last forever. It's basically just ground down polystyrene, painted and dyed. You can buy little tufts of things as well, which are buried amongst all of the new crafting stuff. Also, this stuff. This is XPS, extruded polystyrene, not to be mistaken with polystyrene you get wrapped around a new toaster or something. This stuff is a lot more thicker. It's solid. This was courtesy of a roofer guy I happened to cycle past on Friday in the rain. Is that XPS? He went, yeah, do you want it? I'm throwing it away. I got some. He had tons of it. I know where carrying it on a bike. So XPS foam, Black Magic Craft. He explains it in detail. It's very informative. This is for the next project. Next up, back with Sharla in Japan. Sharla does all manner of things about living in Japan, and she has a beauty regime that is available via a company called Wishtrend, a Korean company. We now cannot get in this country because of stupid export and import laws and whatever. So when I run out of this, which is going to be soon, I'll not be able to get it anymore. I bought Tora, Sharla's package of beauty products for her birthday last year, and I think it's the best birthday present I've ever bought her because she's so completely in love with it. You just do like this stuff, you just put this on and dab it on your head and whatever, and there's a whole mass of stuff to do, serums and polishes and whatever, but makes your face all shiny. There. If I can only get rid of the bags and have my eyes lifted. But Wishtrend, thanks to Sharla. Be back.
Many tic-tacs later.
Coffee beans. Smell that. That smell nice. Random one, but if you follow Peter McKinnon, you'll know what this is. Yes, a very dirty coffee pot. I've just made coffee, so I drunk coffee and drunk instant coffee for years, and then Peter McKinnon kept going on about pour over coffee and how to make proper coffee and doing these beautiful B-roll videos of making coffee and things. I tried it. I tried with the little pour over top things, and that worked, and I was like, oh, that's quite good, it's not bad. Eventually I've ended up with one of these, and I really need to clean it. Now, it's how I make coffee. I still drink instant coffee, but I want nice coffee. Peter McKinnon has influenced my drinking habits. Obviously I still drink tea more than anything else, and hopefully I've influenced Becki Peckham on how to make tea, because she made a comment on my video about how to make the perfect cup of tea, and that's always good. And last but not least, not mentioned very much apart from buying things for Tora. Tora obviously is around all the time, so a lot of stuff we buy together, or she will suggest something and I'll buy it and whatever. It not necessarily come from her videos as such, just her being in person, but I've got to mention this one. This is, if you don't know, this is Van. Van is the controller of BT21 spaceship. Probably the biggest influence on a lot of my stuff in the last 2 years has been K-pop, and she's learnt to speak Korean, and my Korean is terrible, so all I can say is 안녕 하세요. Probably as bad as my Norwegian, but yeah, so it's the only thing I've got to show as a physical thing. But my musical taste, as you've probably noticed during paintings of flow art and things, there's been a lot of K-pop music, and I'm very into all manner of K-pop stuff. BTS, I have pretty much everything by them, so I have Van. I mean, that says it all really, doesn't it? Lots of music and lots of the culture and all of that stuff. So I think that's it. 47 minutes of me rambling. I think 20 minutes of that is me just running out of the room to go and get things. Down there is a mess where I knocked everything flying just now, so hopefully this was informative and useful, and if there's anything in amongst this, I'll try and find products and things and list it below, so go look. And yeah, if this was fun, entertaining, useful, whatever, do give this a thumbs up. If you've tried any of the things, or you know any things, or you know a better version of something, leave comments down below. Comments are good. We like comments. I like comments. I like to know that somebody's actually watching this. I don't think anyone is. And if you've watched this and you're not already, please do hit the subscribe button down there and come back each week for something more. I'm saying this all the time, but no one listens, so. From Van and I, that is goodbye. Bye. I like saying that name. Now I've got it. Matti Haapoja. Who used to do the whole tutorial sort of stories? Yeah. Breaking things. How to style it, and there's a coughing dog. It just warms the room up, and you can sit there and go, oh look, rainbows. And it's June and it's Pride Month, so it's appropriate. I also, should Makayla ever see this, well done, Mac. And I've lost my train of thought now. Oh yeah, so Makayla, yeah, I'm shutting up. Diamond Bar. There's a snoring dog. I almost burnt my eyes off there. Hi Becky.